week's episode of Dragon Ball Super. Beerus, the god of destruction, has returned to his home planet to slumber, so the heroes of Earth can begin their training anew. Goku and Krillin have a very short sparring match, and Vegeta has a brand new, food-obsessed martial arts master. My big takeaway from this week's episode is that Krillin likes tacos. I really loved this episode right here. I can already tell that a lot of people are probably not going to dig it, but I really love the expansion on Dragon Ball Z Resurrection of F. I really like getting to learn how Vegeta actually ends up becoming the pupil of Whis, the master of Beerus, who apparently is stronger. He's very coy about it in this episode, but I think that Whis, without a doubt, is the most powerful being that we have seen in the series thus far. This week's episode was just goofy as all hell, mostly from all of the Vegeta stuff, but there was this fantastic sequence at the beginning of the episode where Goku's really bored at work, just sleeping on the tractor, almost about to go off the side of a mountain because he's falling asleep. Luckily, Krillin shows up and they have this short sparring match because Krillin is really curious about the strength of Goku at this point in the series, and they even reminisce a little bit about the old days, which I have to admit is very nostalgic. It makes me long for the days of old school Dragon Ball, but still I'm really interested to see how they're going to carve their way into the future with this brand new series, and the way they're starting the Resurrection of F arc is pretty awesome. Because it's going to involve Krillin getting his face decked in one of the most ridiculous punches I've seen in the series, which sends him flying across this farm field, through a forest, bouncing off of a farmhouse, and then into a giant boulder. Poor Krillin continues to be the butt of many a joke, and honestly in Dragon Ball Super, I think this would be a good opportunity to build on this character a little bit more, maybe make him a little bit stronger, give him a new technique. I don't know. All I know is, it still is really nice to see both Goku and Krillin hanging out together. You can still tell that they're really good friends, and they really do always play really well off of each other. That being said, it was still a really dumb move on his part to ask Goku to punch him. You do not ask a god to punch you in the face. The rest of the episode is where things start to get a little interesting, because this is where we learn that Whis has just been casually coming down to Earth occasionally, hanging out with Bulma, and they always go out to eat. This is sort of her way of trying to butter up Whis so that if Beerus ever comes back to the planet and wants to destroy everything, Whis can save all of them and stop the destruction. But even Whis doesn't even really guarantee that he's going to do this quite yet, but still it's really weird just getting to see him hang out with Bulma in this strange casual setting, and his reactions to eating things for the very first time are very over the top and very funny, and add a lot to his mysterious character. And then we have Vegeta, who is continuing to train in this episode, wanting of course to surpass the gods and Goku, as he always wants to do. And then it's finally at the end of the episode when he runs into Whis that he realizes he has no choice. If he wants to surpass Goku in any sense of the word, he is going to have to train with Whis. And he gets on his knees and he begs him to do this, which might be one of the strangest Vegeta scenes I've seen in the entire series, for him to humble himself down and ask someone for help just like that, because he's always gone solo in his training. He never has anyone else help him out, and if anyone is ever there with him when he's training, they're just there sort of in the background. So this is a really big moment for the character, and things just get more ridiculous because after being accepted by Whis, he gets really excited and decides to show it off in his own special way by trying to show him somewhere where the best food in the world is. The problem is every single restaurant that he goes to is the one that Bulma always took him to, so he just continuously gets more disappointed, so he decides he's going to cook him a meal himself. And he's trying to make an omelet, but because Vegeta is so strong, he can't even hold an egg for like a couple of seconds without it actually cracking, and he literally ends up with an egg on his face looking like a fool. It's a really funny scene, but actually it does progress quite a bit, because at the end of the episode, Vegeta and Whis are going to Beerus' planet. He even brought like a whole bag of all of his shit. He even has a brand new uniform, which I imagine is going to be the black one from Resurrection of F. All I know is this is a really big step. It means Vegeta would have been the very first person to actually go to Beerus' planet, and I'm quite interested to see actually how Goku is going to get there. But still, this was a fun episode of Dragon Ball Z, which is entirely dependent on how much you like these characters in a casual setting. So, what's the rundown on this week's episode of Dragon Ball Super? I really liked this one, and mostly because there's a lot of new material here, and I really like to see how exactly Vegeta decided to actually join Whis. Like, that was something I never imagined happening that way. I didn't think he was going to do it like this. I figured he was just going to be strung along with Goku, and for him to actually get down on his knees and ask Whis like that was just almost out of character, but it also shows that Vegeta has changed a lot over the series. You know, very much like Piccolo, you know, starting out as a villain, and then as time goes on, really starting to show your more jokey, playful side, which honestly, I like seeing. It's a really nice change of pace from just the typical, I am the Prince of all Saiyans, blah, you know, it gets kind of old after a while. So there was a lot of scenes this week that just looked really funny when you got to see him, you know, acting all goofy, yet still having a constant scowl on his face, because that's just what Vegeta does. That combined, of course, with Whis, who I just think is an absolutely charming character, a very funny character as well, which led to a lot of funny interactions with both Vegeta and Bulma as well. In fact, when Vegeta runs into Bulma and Whis at first, it's really funny because Bulma's almost a little annoyed that Vegeta's not mad about the fact that she might be cheating on Vegeta with Whis, and something about that is really funny. The look that she gave Vegeta was really great. The scene in the beginning of the episode with Goku and Krillin was also really good. Very nostalgic scene, and just poor Krillin, he got completely destroyed in that punch, which was pretty crazy. All I know is this was a really funny beginning to the Resurrection of F arc. Speaking of which, if you guys actually want to support the franchise, I would highly recommend picking up Dragon Ball Z Resurrection of F. It was just released by Funimation on Blu-ray and DVD. I got mine right here. It was even better a second time. I kid you not. I really hope the anime version is going to be able to live up to the action in this movie, because it's absolutely gorgeous and explosive. And I already love the expansion that they're doing on this, but this movie is really, really good right here. It'll give you sort of a glimpse into the future of the next arc of Dragon Ball Super. So my final thoughts on this week's episode are that I really liked it. It was a very minimal episode in terms of animation. The biggest action scene was probably Goku punching Krillin, and the rest of it was just the characters being their pleasant selves. So if you liked the Dragon Ball characters, you're going to like this episode, and it's also the beginning of a big training arc for Vegeta, which is a pretty big deal for this series. I liked this one a lot. I thought it was really good. I think most people will consider this a very average episode, but I loved seeing Vegeta just get all crazy at the end of the episode, and Whis is such a mysterious and cool character. So I'm going to give this week's episode a 4 out of 5. Check it out, Dragon Ball Super fans. You might see something you like. Before you guys leave today, I want to hear your thoughts about this week's episode of Dragon Ball Super. Did you love it? Did you hate it? What did you think of Vegeta acting all goofy and trying to cook for Whis? And how is Goku going to get to Beerus' planet? And what do you want to see from the rest of Dragon Ball Super? Please tell me in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching this video. Make sure to like it, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel. And make sure to also check out our weekly podcast show. It's an hour-long show where both me and Christian hang out. Occasionally we have a guest. Since Halloween is just around the corner, we just revealed our top 5 scary movies. So make sure to check that out in the description box below and to share it with all of your buddies. Thank you guys again for watching, and as always, stay dandy, baby! I am the Prince of all Saiyans, blah!